How to install a Nōtan Integrated Blind unit. For purpose of demonstration, we are showing installation on a bifold door, but the installation is applicable to every unit we provide. Let's start with a quick run-through of the component parts. This is the unique Nōtan Integrated Blinds guide rail. This is the tilt magnet. This is the raise and lower magnet. As you can see, there are 4 brass stops on the guide rail. These are adjusted and fixed using a 1.5 Allen key. The red backing strip on the guide rail is the tape. When it's removed, it reveals the adhesive layer. We strongly recommend you always do a dry run with your unit so you are confident with the final installation. Starting with the glaze unit in the frame, take the guide rail and position it flush to the beading. You need to ensure there is a 6 mm gap to the internal profile edge. On the guide rail, remove the magnet. Firmly hold or clamp the guide rail and twist the magnets away from the backing tape. Now the magnets are removed, you can adjust the stops. Each magnet needs a stop above and below it. Make temporary markings on the guide rail for a rough guide as to where the stops should be. To move the brass stops, use the Allen key. Turn clockwise to loosen. Turn anti-clockwise to tighten. To move the stops once loosened, push them with the Allen key to above and below the magnets. You might need to use a pencil or tool to help move the stops to your temporary markings. Secure the stops by tacking them to the rail using the Allen key to tighten them. Once the stops are positioned, clip the magnets back in by placing them on the rail and twisting back towards the backing tape. Now position the guide rail on dry within the frame, flush to the beading, but do not remove the backing tape just yet. Guide the magnet up or down the rail until all magnets are located. The tilt magnet will locate itself. The triple tilt magnet will need to be double-clicked. Test the blind on the dry run. To test the blind, make sure it can be moved up and down completely. Please note, you can only raise and lower the blinds in the open horizontal position. When you are happy with your dry run and the blind works well, you are ready to stick the guide rail to the unit. Take the magnets off and stick the guide rail on by taking off your tape. Use the beading as a runner to ensure there is a 6 mm gap from the magnet to the internal profile of the frame. If you have stuck your rail on wrong, use a Stanley knife to remove the rail and request more tape from Nōtan Integrated Blinds. Remove the temporary marks on the guide rail where the stops are tacked, ready to position them correctly. The tilt magnet measurement is 13 mm. You will need to use this measurement to ensure the stops are in the right position. Push the magnet as high as it will go to the close position. Mark the top of the magnet's position on the guide rail. Then push the magnet as low as it will go for the close position. Mark the bottom of the magnet on the guide rail. Measure 13 mm below the top mark and make a mark. Measure 13 mm above the top mark and make a mark. Wipe away the top and bottom marks. The raise and lower magnet measurement is 25.5 mm. You will need this measurement to ensure the stops are in the right position. Push the raise and lower magnet up until you hear a double click. Then push the magnet up until the blind hits the bottom of the frame and mark the position of the top of the magnet on the guide rail. Push the magnet down until the blind is fully raised. On large units, you will feel the stop magnet align with the raise and lower magnet and click in. Mark the position of the bottom of the magnet on the guide rail. Measure 25.5 mm below the top mark and make a new mark. Measure 25.5 mm above the bottom mark and make a new mark. Wipe away the previous marks. Use the marks to position the stops on the guide rail. The bottom of the top stop should be on the top mark and the top of the stop should be on the bottom mark. When in place, tighten the stops with the Allen key.
Your Nōtan Integrated Blind unit is now installed and should be running smoothly. However, we will now run through some common issues you may experience during installation.
If you are having difficulty with your blind, you should discover this before your guide rail has been securely fixed to the unit. Here are the most common troubleshooting explanations to resolve most issues. Magnets dropping off. If your magnet is falling off, they are not aligned properly. When all the magnets line up, you will hear a click. This is very important for the raise and lower magnet, which requires a double click to align with the internal magnets in the unit. Blinds not coming down level. Remember, you can only raise and lower the blinds in the horizontal position. If your blind is not coming down level, check the position. If it's not in the right position, move the blind back to the top with the raise lower magnet. Change the tilt position and move back down. Tangled strings. If the magnets have been taken off and the unit has been transported incorrectly, the strings may be tangled. Remove the magnets from the guide rail and ensure they are on the external edge of the unit. Move both magnets up and down rapidly until the blind corrects itself. If you need to transport the unit, keep the unit on its side with the blinds locked in open position to prevent this from happening. When moving your units, remember to keep the magnets and the units together as they are unique to each other. If your magnets and guide rails have been mixed up, you will need to reverse the polarities. To do this, find a magnetic surface. Put the magnet on, prise the casing off and leave the magnet on the surface. Then flip the case, snap it back onto the magnet and slide the magnet off the surface. Blinds dropping. If your blinds are dropping, the magnet is most likely in the wrong position. Make sure you have a 6 mm edge between the magnet and the edge of the internal frame. If you don't have a 6 mm gap, the counterbalance won't align with the magnets. If this is the case, the unit will need to be reglazed.
If you have any queries or questions about your Nōtan Integrated Blind units, please get in touch with us.